What is up, guys? It is so nice to be here with Jake and Mike after a super busy but exciting weekend. My throat is still kind of a little sore from the weekend and everything. But welcome to the Squeegee podcast. I'm your host, Gabriel Gutierrez. And we are going to talk about all things Window Cleaner Nation made up. It really was an outstanding event. We're going to talk with two of the organizers here, Michael Koleski and Jake Van Orden, and just find out about the origin of it, what kind of how it started, and also how it kind of snowballed. Because I know how it turned out was not how it intended when it first started. So there's a really cool story there. So, but before we get into all of that, how are you guys both doing?
Great. Thanks for having us on, Gabe. It was good meeting you the other day.
Yeah, it was
Yep.
really nice meeting you.
Yeah, doing
And
great,
how about you,
man.
Jake?
Doing great, man. I mean, I'm just trying to recover still from that long weekend, man. It
That's what
was
I'm saying.
it was fantastic but exhausting at the same time. So,
Oh, yeah, 100%, 100%. I think that when you're around so many people and everybody has kind of the same passion and everyone's exciting. It really was kind of a first time for most of people there to be around so many window cleaners. It can be a little overwhelming, and I know some of the people there, you could tell that they were really touched, and it was something that they felt like they needed. I know we got a little bit of that with the Elevate convention in February. I talked to a few people, like one of them was Squeegee Tom, who's a listener here, and he was just really overwhelmed because he says, back home, I don't know people who have the same interests as me. He said, I kind of feel like an outsider, but here I felt like I belonged. And I could get that sense from a lot of the people there as well, that it was kind of almost a breath of fresh air to kind of let your hair down and just say, hey, this is what I do. This is who I am. And it's neat to be around other people who kind of feel the same way. What was your sense of the reaction to the event?
you go ahead first, Mike.
It was cool. I honestly, I don't know. I don't want to say I had doubts for how it would turn out, but obviously we hadn't never done anything like this before. And I've known Jake a little bit now, and he started, the nation, and it's a good platform to be able to organize something like this through. But yeah, I did my diligence in like calling random dudes off Google just to invite them, just to spread the
Yeah,
word a little bit. And I,
right.
I think a few of them did come, so it was cool that they took the invitation seriously and wanted to be a part of it. But who knows? Maybe next time there'll be even more people, and all the fun people missed out on, they're not going to want to do that again. So
Right. Yeah, excellent. And I feel like a lot of people, it was like, I'm trying to think of the right wording for it. They felt like it was kind of motivating for them. It kind of put air in their sails again. In talking with one gentleman, he was just saying how it's been kind of a rough year, but that being around other people, like this, who are like-minded, it kind of just helped them to see that, hey, there's, people can get through this. This guy's been doing it for 20 years. This guy's been doing it for 25 years. This little thing that I'm facing, it's, just be a blimp on the radar there. And it kind of motivated them to go on. So before we go on and talk, first of all, I just want to say hi to everybody who's in. We got Codrain, who was in there with us. He was a real big part of that. He was a lot of fun. It was really nice to seeing you. It's like the third time that I've got to hang out with him. He's a real special guy. Thank you so much for everything, Codrain. Good to see you. We got Tyler Blue in, Adam Hogan. How's it going, Adam? On John La Liberte, he's in. We've got Peter Cruz. Hey, Pete, how you doing, bud? James Smith is in. Charles D. Smith is in. So we've got a good crowd just to start. I just wanted to, first off, just thank everyone for who sent me kind of just notes, just asking how I was. I didn't realize yet. So yesterday, just so everyone knows, my mom had a stroke this weekend. I went to meet everybody on Friday. Arrived in Utah on Friday. We had this really great time at Top Golf, and I got this call from my brother. And I don't know if you guys have ever gotten a call like that, where just something in me was like, "Oh no, this is not a good call. This is not something that is. He's not just calling to see how I'm doing." And I just knew it right from the second. And sure enough, he called to say that my mom had it ended up being a mild stroke, thankfully, but it definitely was very scary. They had to take her to the hospital. She just got out yesterday afternoon, and everything's okay. but my mom has a lot of health conditions anyway, so it's not like anything. It is what it is. But thankfully she's not having any effects from the stroke. At least it doesn't seem. But anyhow, it was just very stressful. Obviously, being in Utah, that's a long way to be away from family, and if I was wondering if I was going to have to catch a flight that night and head back home to be there if it was the worst case scenario. Thankfully, I want to give a shout out to my siblings. I have two brothers and a sister. They held down the fort. I'm the oldest, and I'm the healthcare power of attorney for my mom. So I usually run the ship when stuff like that happens. But being away, man, they just did such an awesome job and gave me the information that I needed to contribute my thoughts, and thankfully everything turned out really well. But shout out to Jason Gulick, who was there at the event. He gave me a shout out yesterday. I didn't know I spent all overnight at the hospital on Sunday night, so I hadn't checked social media until the evening, and he had posted something, just sending real nice words on social media on the podcast, his podcast on Monday morning. And I was really touched. I appreciated that. Jake, I appreciated your message on Saturday morning, checking in to make sure everything was okay. And also shout out to Luis Martinez and Scott Aaronkrantz, who are checking in with me as well. It's nice to see how many people, we care about each other. And this is it's everyday life, stuff we all got to deal with, but knowing that everybody's got each other's back is really cool. So just wanted to take some time to thank everyone for that. Thankfully, everything was okay, and my siblings felt that it was okay for me to stay, and I got to partake in this awesome event. So Jake, would you just take some time and just talk a little bit about how this kind of came to mind to do this smaller meetup in Utah?
So James and I have talked about it for a few years now, and it's kind of just been talks, hasn't really become a real thing until now. And we had talked about it back in like February, getting people together and doing something, and then talked a little bit more about it in March, and then all of a sudden, Mike and James put a date together and didn't tell me anything. They were just like, "Oh yeah, we're going to do it on this date," and I'm like, "Okay, okay, I guess that's what we're doing now." So put everything together in about a month's time, from start to finish. When we first announced that we were doing it until the actual date, I think was about a month total. So it came together really, really well. Out of the three of us, I've been in the industry the longest. I've been doing this for 27 years. So a lot of the people that were there are people that I've known for decades. Yeah. And then a lot of the new people that were there, I was meeting for the first time, which was amazing to see a lot of the younger crowd and some of the people that were new to me, at least, because I know a lot of the old cats in the industry, people that have been in the industry 15 plus years, which, Mike's been, I think, in the industry 6 years now, and James has been in the industry 11 years now. But most of the people that I have really good relationships with in the business are people that have been in the business 15 plus years. So,
Wow.
so those people I was able to connect with pretty easily and get them out. Some of the people that are on the younger generation, I'm not Facebook friends with. I don't know who they are. So having, Mike, who reached out to just about everybody he could, was a huge part of why a lot of these younger guys came out as well, because I've never connected with these younger guys. So, but awesome showing, and we're super happy the way everything turned out.
What was your goal? What were your expectations when you first thought of getting together?
My goal is kind of just that we don't need to hate our competition. That we can come together and we can see each other. We can, see the areas that each person works in, the kind of crew that they have, those kind of things. It's a lot harder to hate people when you sit down with them and have conversations with them, and you can see who they are and see that who
Right.
they are as a person, and really um, talk. It's hard to hate somebody in those situations. I mean, a lot of times in any business, but especially in service businesses, there's a ton of hate without even knowing the people on the other side. It's like, oh, I hate
Yes.
those guys. Well, why do you hate
Yes.
them? Oh, because they put yard signs out, and it's like, okay, um, that's not a reason to hate somebody. But but then once you sit down with everybody and you really have conversations about um, what you're doing and your passion for it, it just brings so many people together. And I mean, we can all learn from each other. So I think it was just a good thing to put together. And my goal of it all was just that we can be friends. We can be friends in this industry, and bring more of us together, and educate people on pricing and stuff, so we're not fighting people that are bidding stuff
Right.
at 50% of what we're bidding things at. So
Yeah. And I think, just on that note, I think that exchange of information is so important. And especially when you're dealing with newer guys. I know for me, when I was started pricing, I had one guy, and I was just talking with him. He had hired me for as a subcontractor on a job, and you were just talking, and he was asking me how I price, and I told him, and he says, dude, you're not pricing, you're not charging enough. And I said, well, I cover my expenses and I cover this and that. He's like, yeah, but you offer a specialized service. He goes, no, it's not rocket science, it's not anything that's too complicated, but your customers can't clean that house as fast as you can. You need to charge for that. You need to charge for how long would it take them to clean it. That's what you're saving them in a day. You're not just giving them clean windows, you're giving them a full afternoon for them to do other things that are more important to them. And once I kind of looked at it that way, I understood kind of what he was talking about how we have to put value on that. And that's just something I wouldn't have got if I hadn't talked to someone who was more experienced. So we have that opportunity to have that interchange of ideas and interchange of methods, and it can make the whole industry and the whole area better as well. I think that's super important. What about you, Mike? How would you kind of envision this? I know you guys talked about it, and you were super active there. I loved all the stuff you had up there with the mag scrubber, which we'll talk about that in a little bit. But what was your thoughts when you guys were first planning this?
Well, like Jake said, it was like a few months, probably. Just the idea was floating around, and then, to be honest, I really connected with James on a personal level before I did with Jake. I've always known of Jake a few years. I'd reach out to him sometimes with advice, maybe for a commercial bid, but I think what did it is I was selling these like NFC cards a while ago for like tap reviews, and I linked up with James like last year, and we just kind of stayed in touch. But after a while, me and James started, sharing this idea of this meetup, and I was like, oh yeah, we should totally make this happen. This would be sick. And then, like Jake said, we just kind of sprung it on him that we were gonna do it, and we wanted him to help us put it together because they had already initially talked about it. But I didn't really know what it was gonna be. I just knew like, oh, it needs to be somewhat entertaining. You saw that big window that I built, the
Yeah.
big picture window that was like on a stand, and so that was fun to have. And it was cool that between Jake and I and James, we were able to, get a couple sponsors for the event,
A
like Window
couple. We got
Magic,
a few sponsors.
Philip from Simple, we had WCR, the Fast Water Belt guy. Like, we had a bunch of free shit to give away. And it was cool that so many people who weren't even here for it were willing to put their name on it and want to be part of the fun, because that's what I think is going to make it memorable. And again, for the future, like, who knows what the next one could turn into? Like, maybe a small park pavilion isn't going to cut it next time. Who knows how many we could
Yeah.
get to come. But I think it's important too for us to put like Utah on the map, because there's a lot of really good window cleaners here. Like, some of the houses and the terrain and the geography, like, you don't get that everywhere you go. Like, I mean, there's guys that came down from Park City, like Luke McCartney and his buddy Franco. Like, they're amazing window cleaners. Like, these guys' ladder skills and the stuff that they deal with on a day to day up there is just makes Salt Lake jobs look like so easy, you know. And I don't go to Park City too frequently, but these guys have a ton of respect for me. And Luke's been in the business a while, and so it was cool to get someone like him to come. And you know, he wasn't in the inner circle of the plan, but someone with a lot of experience coming down from Park City, and like Jason flying out from Arizona with you. And like, it was just so cool to see the turnout, and it wasn't anything I expected. I seriously did not know how it was going to go. And so it was cool to like set the bar for what we can do as like, you know, a community in the industry and stuff. So
yeah, for sure, for sure. No, it was really it exceeded all expectations, 100%. And can we just give a shout out to Uncle Phil? Jay, could you share some of the stuff that he offered as far as prizes?
Oh, so Phil donated more than anyone else. I mean, it was pretty incredible what Phil was willing to do. So he sent me, let's see, a 47-foot simple, a 27-foot simple, 2 4-foot trad poles, a bunch of keychains, and
goosenecks too, right?
those goosenecks, yeah, that's what I was about to say.
The two a 16-inch and a 24-inch gooseneck. So Phil went all out on sending us stuff to give away. I think the total value of what Phil sent us was about $3,500 worth of gear.
Amazing.
So
amazing.
And then the awesome part about that is a young couple that hasn't been in business very long that just got into waterfed this last year. And their biggest pole that they had was like a 30-foot pole, and now they have a 47-foot simple to go along with their 30-foot pole that they already had. So it's really, really awesome that Phil was willing to do that. And so I'm really glad that I reached out to Phil and that he was willing to do all of that, because I was not expecting him to do that much. I was expecting him to, you know, maybe send a couple 12-foot trad poles and that's it. And I mean, he just, you know, I get 3 packages from him and I'm just like, Phil, what did you send me?
That was funny,
really cool.
And I can totally vouch. It was all, they picked it from a hat. There was no way to know, but it was like a storybook selection. That is a young couple. They had a new baby they brought with them. Just that's who you want to win that poll, right? That's who you want to get that gift.
Definitely,
just to help them on their company get started and get off the ground. But and super nice, man. I had to chat with the husband, and just they were so excited to be there. I mean, and that was before he won the poll. After he won the poll, man, he could have been walking on clouds, man. He was so happy. So that was just really, really awesome. Yeah.
Yes.
Cool.
Seeing his face when he found out that it was his wife's name that got pulled was just next level. I mean, you can't see it in the video because it's when he's walking up to grab the pole from us, and the look on his face is just like this huge excitement, look of gratitude. I mean, it just makes doing this type of event so worth it, seeing somebody that excited about something that just is absolutely incredible. I mean, that just feeling of love and joy was incredible to see.
Yeah, 100%. It was really cool. Were there any other things that you guys noticed? Any other expressions that kind of made the event special?
Go ahead, Mike.
I mean, I think, like I said, back again to like the people I just like called randomly off Google. Like I like explained to them what this event was about, and they had no idea if they're wasting their damn time like coming to some park at Draper on Saturday. But for them to come and see them genuinely intrigued with everybody and see them socializing and introducing themselves, and like that's what it was about. And so I was so pleased to see kind of like what I intended these like cold calls to be, of just an invitation. just to see it like turn out. And there was a lot of guys I invited that didn't end up coming, but it's funny because a few of them actually reached out later. Was like, I'm so sorry, like I couldn't make it, like I hope it was fun. And I keep in mind I don't even know these people, but clearly it was like in the back of their mind to like reach back out and let me
Yeah.
know that they were thinking of coming and they couldn't make it and things like that. And so it was cool that it clearly just the idea of it was enticing enough for them to be like, oh man, like maybe I'm missing out, you know. And so to see the expressions of people who came and were part of it. And then like one thing I really liked was we started cleaning the picture window, and like I started messing around, like showing some people some of the tools, and like I smeared a bunch of silicone on it and was like testing some of the tools I brought to show people how to get it off. And then just as soon as I started doing that, there was like 10 or 15 people just gathered around the window, like waiting their turn.
Yep.
And so that was really fun because I mean, I spent a little bit of time building that window and looking for a good one to put in a big frame like that was, you know, sizable enough to make it worthwhile to drag down to the park on a Saturday. But to have everybody want to jump in and like start cleaning in, like we were testing out like Fletcher's soaps and a couple other like soap additives, and it was cool to be able to have everybody there and experience that and like just kind of hang out and bullshit and clean a window and, you know, eat some tacos. We had some tacos
Right.
come, those were good, you know, and so it was cool. But everybody seemed like really pleased, and there was, you know, my wife was really involved. That was really cool for me to experience, and she's always like to be involved, but this particular event, like she went above and beyond to make sure
She really did.
that
She
things
really
went
did.
smoothly. I had a lot of my family come to like support, and I had a great time myself, and so
Very cool. What about you, Jake?
Yeah, I mean, just everything coming together was fantastic, and you know, Mike's family all showing up to help out, and Mike's wife especially, you know, taking all the pictures that she took of the event, and Mike's employee that is a whiz with the drone, you know, doing all the drone footage and stuff was absolutely amazing. And my guy Nicholas Coletti, man, that we've been friends for over 20 years, out there taking a bunch of photos, and he's the one that posted all the black and white photos in the group the day after. So some really, really good photos, and that's definitely the black and white one with us all in it is definitely going to be next month's cover photo for sure. I mean, we're not going to do a we're not going to do a whoever gets the most likes gets to be the photo of the month. This one's definitely going to be the photo of the month. It's that good of a picture. It turned out fantastic, and it was great to have. I mean, my guys were there and absolutely loved the event, and have thanked me multiple times for putting the event together. And they got to meet people from other companies and just kind of talk about how we do things, how they do things. And so fantastic, you know. And one of my employees brought his wife and little 3-year-old, 4-year-old daughter with him, and you know, they got to all the kids got to decorate buckets and put a bunch of stickers on them.
Yeah, that was a really cool touch, by the way.
We had thousands and thousands of stickers, so the kids were stoked to put buckets together, and then getting everybody in the same shirt for the picture and doing all the shirts for the event was awesome.
And I got to see a lot more of James Riley than I had planned that day. I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
he's elusive. Down him.
No, I'm
Provo,
talking about him
dude.
taking his shirt off. Yeah, that was funny. But can we talk a little bit about James too? Because he was a part of this, and we really appreciate all his work. He was hoping to pop on here, but he ended up some weather made him push some work from yesterday to today. So he's probably not going to make it. He sent me a message saying, "Oh, if I can squeeze in some time, I'll pop in and say hi." So I gave him the link, but chances are he won't pop in. But what was his role in this whole thing?
His role is just the energy behind it. I mean, his energy for this whole thing was just through the roof. I mean, he's wanted to do this more than I have for the last 3 years. I mean, we've talked about it for a few years, but he's been like, I've always wanted to do it, but he has pushed me to want to do it for years. And his energy about it, and his energy of wanting to meet people in our area is, you know, been a huge thing for him. He, you know, has 5 kids, and he's the sole provider for his family. So James doesn't really get to get away and go to the IWCA or the huge conventions. You know, like I've been blessed and been able to go to a couple of those. So this Salt Lake get together was such a huge thing for him, because this is like his little huge convention. And to be honest with you, the energy and everything there is just as good as going to one of the conventions. It's just people that are
It was.
in your state, you know?
Yes.
And so the energy and everything there was fantastic. And you don't need to go out of state and spend thousands and thousands of dollars to get hotels and flights and do all that. You can do it in your home state and bring people together. And so James's energy was a huge part in making this happen. And then we all got to see who James really is, you know. And if you watch the video of the live giveaway that you filmed there, Gabe, for us, which we highly appreciate. I mean, his sense of humor and who James is just comes to life in that video. And so people can see the real James and not the persona of James on Facebook. That's the real James that, you know, Mike and I know. That's who James is. I mean, he's always joking around, always has a great sense of humor. So, but his energy is top notch for that kind of thing. So,
and I think it's very fitting that James has a part in this, because, you know, I didn't know James really, you know, ever until this is the first time I really got to spend any time with him. If you don't know James, he had a really great interview on the Go Indeed podcast. Was last week sometime, or maybe 2 weeks ago, and it's just excellent. And I think he is relatable to a lot of people who have turned to window cleaning as kind of like, hey, I got to change my life around. I got to do something that is going to help my family and still give me the independence that I want, you know. And that's he's got a really great story with that. And so I remember him in the Backflip Boys, you know. And if you go to YouTube, Google Backflip Boys, they had a podcast for a while. It was just a bunch of guys just kind of talking to him, you know, about, so half the time it wasn't even window cleaning, but he would put out some instructional videos. And I, you know, being a newer window cleaner, I did a lot of commercial. I used the backflip. that was my weapon of choice, so to speak. And I really learned a lot from him. So I kind of learned about him then in that sense. And then, you know, there's just a lot of, it was a time when there's a lot of drama in the industry, and people were picking sides between, you know, people who had some type of notoriety in our industry, and James was kind of caught up in that. So for him to have a role in this, which this meetup was a unifying event, I think was very fitting. Because like what you said, Jake, that's who he is. James is really, he's a very kind, really friendly person. He wants you to win. He wants you to you know, be able to overcome whatever you're facing, and he wants to help if he can. So it just gave a lot more people to see that part of him. And I just think that him being a part of that was a huge blessing. And we get to know him and see him in that setting for sure. Yeah. But I'm sad he couldn't be on here, so you guys could get to see him here. But like I said, he had a really great interview on the Go Indeeds podcast. If you want to go back and watch that, that's really good. So some of you guys know I'm in the Into the Flow Facebook group. We had talked about doing this for years, and it just got to the last 2 or 3 years. I just got kind of busy again. My mom's health and now my dad's health kind of put a lot of time restraints on me. already as it is, I was already super busy in IWCA and all this other stuff. So we never got around to that. But I guarantee you, there are people in the ITF group who would absolutely want to join forces with Window Cleaner Nation and have another one of these meetups in a state and help with that formation. Because I know a lot of this was on your back, Jake. I know a lot of this was, you pulling all that muscle. And not that you didn't have support, because you had a ton of support, but the scheduling and the organizing. I think if Window Clean Nation and ITF joined, we could absolutely have these, quarterly in different parts of the country. And at times when it is convenient for people, like we wouldn't want to have one in the north in the winter. But in the summer, absolutely, when the weather's great, we could start doing this. So I think if there's anybody in ITF here, I know there's a few like Jason Smith, not Jason Smith. I'm trying to think here.
There's a handful of guys from Into the Flow in this group. I can't think of them off the top of my head. I know Corey Klimas is in here.
Corey Klimas is in, yeah. 100%. But we got quite a few I know who have asked. Kevin Hargis also is someone. James Smith, I don't know why I call him Jason. James Smith is in ITF. I know he'd love to. He said one in Texas would be awesome. That's totally doable. There's a ton of window cleaners in Texas who would love to do a meetup. We're having the Elevate convention in Texas. So I think that's something that we should work together and plan on, so it's all the weight doesn't just fall on a couple guys, but that we can kind of spread it out for sure.
Well, I'm happy to help other cities and other states, have something like this happen, and kind of if people want to reach out to me and reach out to Mike, and ask us questions on how we made everything happen. We'd love to help on that. I've had at least 10 people in comments and other things asking, "Oh, when are you going to have one in this state? When are you going to have one in this state?" And it's like, I don't live in those states. I can't
exactly.
I can't make things happen in New Hampshire because I don't live in New Hampshire. So, I'd love to see them happen in all 50 states, but me making it happen is
it would have to
different.
be. We'd have to have a member in that area who's willing to take on the lead part of organizing that. But what we could do is have a template of some sort that we could pass on, and hey, this is how you can organize it. These are the steps you can take, and try to make it a little more viable for them, and a little bit easier for them to to be able to take on that load, because it is a load. 100% it is a load. It's a lot of work, but man, the results are awesome. The results really are wonderful. So if you guys are interested in having something, heading something up, if you know someone in your state who might be in a position to organize and put them in touch with me or with Jake, and we can definitely give you a head start on what you would need to do to get that organized, so that we can have it, because we really should we really should have these more often. You made a really good point, Jake, earlier about, hey, this is different from the conventions. The conventions absolutely have their place, and they are unique in the type of education that you can get at the IWCA. Also the networking, right? You got people from all over the country, and even from across the sea, in Europe and in England, they come down, and we get to meet these people that we see on Facebook. But when you talk to local folks, I feel like it gives you an opportunity to talk about specific niche issues that not every other window cleaner faces, but the people in your area know a lot about those issues, and it gives you a chance to commiserate. It gives you a chance to encourage one another. It gives you a chance to form sometimes some type of arrangements. Oh, hey, you like to clean solar screens? I hate cleaning solar screens. I'll pass all my customers over to you. Tyler Blue who's in here, I told him, hey, you do 2-story solar panel cleaning. I don't want to mess with 2-story solar panel cleaning. I will absolutely send all those to you, and you can handle those. So, those types of relationships are done in person. And I think that's why it's important for us to make sure that we get that, we get that out there.
No, I agree 100%.
Mike, you had your sorry, didn't mean to interrupt you there, Jake.
No, you're good.
What's up, Gabe?
Mike, you had your mag scrubbers there. I just wanted to get a chance just to tell a little bit about where you're at with that. We had a really nice discussion up there about where you're going, how it's evolving. You just added some brand new magnets on the second version of it that are working a lot better. Could you just give us a little bit of tell us a little bit about how it's going and
Sure.
What's on the horizon for the mag scrubber?
Sure. So, I mean, to preface all this, like, I had no intention of this turning into like a very well sought after tool. I could see the value in it when I thought of the idea, and I always kind of had this like imaginative, desire to see what I could create, and it turned into something that a lot of people are willing to try. And so for me, my priority is to just try to get the concept to as many people as possible. And like there's been a few broken handles, things like that, and I've been sending replacement things out and stuff, but the molds are kind of working. It's a long back and forth process with the factories and stuff making these things, and so I'd like to think by the time the final version of at least the swivel mag scrubber is completed, which has been the most popular one, will ironed out all the kinks and stuff. But the new magnets were definitely the like secret sauce in the performance of the tool, like the way that I had initially imagined it. And so it took me a bit of time to get my hands on these really good magnets. It's not as simple as ordering them off of Google, And so once that was solved, it was a lot more desirable to want to tell people about and to get feedback on and things like that. And I really do look forward to the future. And this year it's turned into a year that I never really expected it to turn into. And I'm just kind of grabbing the bull by the horns, like trying to make the best out of it for everybody. I want everybody to have a good experience, and I want everybody to be excited that they're getting to try something new. And I don't want anybody to feel like they got the short end of the stick or something. And so I'm, people are messaging me. I'm giving them, promos on some of the V1s if you bought things like that. But there's also other tools that I've come up with that are just other variations of the mag scrubbers. I think you saw a lot of them there when we were talking. And so the main one is the swivel mag scrubber, which is what's, kind of gone viral. I didn't know it was going to happen, but that's the first thing that's going to be molded. And I'd like to think in the future I can get some of these other ones done. And it's just kind of a long process going back and forth and stuff. But hopefully by the end of this summer, we'll have a lot of, these things finalized, and I'm getting a website put together and some nice product photos and stuff. But for now, it's been just totally through the grapevine. Like, guys are messaging me, and I'm happy to answer questions and stuff like that, and hear on like a personal level from people rather than just like a checkout and put your card in and then I'd never even talk to you. Right. And so where it's at now, I do appreciate it, but it's getting a little out of hand, dude. Like, my wife is helping me talk to people all day, and every other day I'm like, oh my God, like we got to respond to so many messages, and then I got to go do my CRM, and then I got to go clean, or I'm, making the schedule for my guys to take my truck out. And so I'm just juggling so much stuff, dude.
Have you talked with Mike Nichols?
I have. I've talked to Mike. Yeah, I've talked a little bit with Mike. We've had a few phone calls. I really like him. So he's would be really helpful because he kind of went through the same thing with his big scrubber and the other iterations of it. And, just kind of learning how to manage that, like you say, you're kind of like in that phase where you're trying to figure out, well, how many of these can I actually the time management
realistically make?
I don't know if you see my cousin in the back behind me, but he's making some right now, and so that's kind of how it's been. I got another person here pretty much every day helping me crank these things out, and for now everything is 3D printed, which it works to get the concept out. It's not as good as a molded version would be, but if we waited for the molded version, no one would be able to try these tools, and I don't want that. I want as many people to find out about this as possible at this point. And so, like I said, longevity wise, the molds are obviously the solution. And so we're working towards that, but I'm just a regular guy. I didn't expect to have to like figure this out, but I'm trying to make the best I can out of it. Just, I feel like confident in myself and being able to solve problems, but this is a whole new problem that's, you know, kind of separate of like a service business. And so it's been a fun like learning curve, and I'm passionate about it, and I'm just kind of seeing where it goes, and it's not something I'm going to set down right now. So
Yeah, yeah. Well, a couple things I really liked that I got to see in person was that one end that has a little tip.
the
It's like
tip
a little
scrubber.
square tip scrubber where
Yeah.
you can throw up just steel wool on the top, add
Right.
it on the end of a pole, and then just scrub. And I think that's so needed, especially when you're doing water fed and you've got that one little bug spot that's just not coming out with the brush, and you got the boar's hair and it's still not coming out, and you could just throw some steel wool on that tip and just do a little scrubbing, and you know it'd come right out.
Yeah,
That was really awesome.
this guy,
There you
right?
go. That's
Yeah.
it.
So this is the Euro threaded one for like a double adapter. But yeah, you just
Hmm.
wrap your steel wool here, and I put all that silicone on that picture window at the event to kind of show how
Yeah.
this one specifically works, because you get such refined kind of pressure on this like spade shape. But this works really nicely on the back of a brush. Like if you're water feeding, you get a couple
Hmm.
spots that the bristles aren't getting. This thing is sick. You just
Yes.
flip it around. But this tool also has the updated magnet strength that I didn't have before. So these are even of better quality than the initial ones were, and so I'm really pleased with how these ones are even turning out, as well as the other iterations of the mag scrubbers.
That's cool. And this is what makes these meets so special, right? I mean, where else are you going to talk with the creator of a thing and have him tell you the whole story about how it evolved, show you the first version of it, this is the second version of it, this is why we made the changes. I mean, even at a convention, you're not always going to get the actual designer there with you to tell the story. You're going to have her talk to a rep, but at like this meetup, we had a chance to talk with you, Mike. And first, I got to know you as a person, but then I got to kind of go down the journey of all the different aspects that you had, where you started from, why you made this design. I asked a couple questions. Well, have you thought about this? Yeah, we thought about this, but this is why we went this way. And it gives us kind of an attachment to your product that I don't think you could get on a regular setting, or just seeing it a picture
Yeah,
on a website, or seeing someone talk about it in a social media post. It's a whole different thing when you got it in your actual hand and you
right.
get a
Well,
chance to
I
do that.
like the thought of transparency, and like obviously I'm not Unger, and I'm not like Mowerman or like IPC or something. Like I said, I'm just a regular guy. I'm passionate about making stuff. I'm passionate about window cleaning, and so if I can
Mhm.
share this process with people, like I'm not worried about copycats. Like I'm not worried about any of the semantics of people, oh well, why aren't you making it at scale first? Like you're, giving away the secret sauce. Like to me, like it's important to have transparency over this tool that I've come up with, because like I am passionate about it. And I want more people to know about it, and like the credit for it comes second. I'm not really worried about it, because
Yeah,
it's marketing itself, because it's a good tool,
it
it's,
is 100%.
and so it's just it's a matter of time. The molds I'm really looking forward to, because then we could really make a lot of them. Right now it's just so time consuming, one at a time. One handle takes like almost 3 hours to print, just one single handle on the swivel mag scrubber. Something like this tip scrubber, this takes about 2 hours to make, just this one thing. But I have 6 3D printers in this room right now, and I
Nice,
might buy
nice.
more, who knows. But yeah, I'm juggling a lot of stuff, and there's other designs that I keep coming up with where I'm like, oh well, we got we got another one now. Like I just can't stop, dude. It's a curse and a blessing. So
Mason Haynes says, love it. Thanks for going live today. I could have used that clip mag about an hour ago.
yeah, the clip mag scrubber is my new favorite. That was a new one I came up with. Kind of just like clips on your belt or your pouch, and
Yes.
it's like also the handle. You like pinch it with 3 fingers, and you can really scrub corners and stuff with it well. Versus the swivel mag, you lose a little bit of leverage out of the handle, but the
Yeah.
clip mag's just a solid stationary piece, and so it's effective. I'm glad people are using that. Jessica battled too. Like shout out to her. She
Yep.
she gave
Yeah,
my
she's
stuff a shot in the very beginning, and has been a strong supporter of me from the beginning.
yeah.
And so I give
sh-
her a lot of respect, and she's a great
She's
great
been in
lady.
she's been in the comments singing your praises here as everybody's asking questions about him. So
Let me
yeah,
see some of the comments. I'm not even reading
she's
them. Let
pretty
me look at
awesome.
these.
Yeah. So one she says, Michael Kolsky, you should create a YouTube video to explain everything and send it to anyone who asks. then if they have questions, they can message instead of calling and explain to everybody.
That's a good idea. Yeah, I can't tell you how many like FaceTimes I've done just with random dudes, like showing them the tools, like asking them what they need or like what they're expecting. A lot of guys are like, dude, I've been cleaning windows like 3 months, and I just laugh. I'm like, this is such a new thing. Like a lot of guys are gonna come in and this has already existed, and they don't understand that like this hasn't existed for whatever, 40 years of neodymium magnets like existing. And so I just think it's funny to think about that contrast.
Yeah. Codreen, he says your products would make life easier for all the window cleaners that use 4-aught steel wool daily. Feels good in your hand as well. Proud of you, Michael Kolsky, and all the dedication you put in towards the industry.
Yeah, thanks, Codreen. It was great. Cool. It was great meeting Codreen. He was a really genuine dude, and we had a couple good conversations one-on-one throughout the trip at Top Golf and at the park and at Jake's house. And he's a plethora of information and a really good guy, and he just feels good to be around, man. That guy is something special, and so I was glad to meet him.
He is. He's a very generous person. He's very kind, and he's quick to give a compliment. He's quick to tell you how much he appreciates you, and it's cool to be around people like that for sure.
Absolutely.
Well, I'm a little sad because I had put together, for those of you who were there, you saw me walking around. I was interviewing a bunch of window cleaners, and I wanted to just get a little nugget of wisdom from every single one. And I had this really cool video put together. And it's too big. I was trying to upload it when we started. This whole time that we've been talking, I've been trying to minimize it and trying to bring the resolution down just so I could fit, because it's 300 megabytes max I can load up on here into the studio. And I got to 348, and that's as low as it'll go. So I can't show it here, but I will post it in Window Cleaner Nation. In fact, I'm going to take a little more time because I was trying to keep it as small as possible. So it was kind of crunched, but now that sizing isn't a matter, I'm going to go ahead and I'll put it out, make it real nice, and I'll post it in there so everyone can hear everybody's different wisdoms, which I think was a pretty cool touch to being around so many different window cleaners on that. So there you go. Look at that. You got a pin if you went there. I got one of those beautiful pins, so we'll definitely use those. But we got about 9 minutes left here. Any closing words on the day, Jake? Anything that you want to put a pin on? Things that you learned or whatever.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I learned a lot about a lot of different people and the size of their business and what their goals are and stuff. Just talking to people there. Another thing that I wanted to bring up, like with Mike's product here. This is what Window Cleaning Nation is all about. We want people to be able to showcase their products without any bias, without any anyone else saying anything about the products. And this group is where you can do that. So if you come up with a product yourself and you want help having that product get out to the masses, this is where you do it. This is how you can reach over 16,000 window cleaners all across the country, all across the world, and make things like this happen. So, I mean, this is a fantastic way for people that are trying to develop products to get the name out there and be able to sell some awesome products. And I mean, I've been using the mag scrubber for a while now, and the generation 2 I used on a mountain property last week where the windows up there, if you don't use at least a scrub pad, you're not going to get the bug splatters off. It's just not going to happen. You can't water fed it because there's just too many bug splatters, and it's just not going to turn out good. But the mag scrubber came in clutch on that, and I used it both inside and outside of this mountain home because these people leave their windows open. They don't have screens on their windows, and so the insides are just as bad as the outsides with the
bugs,
with the gunk and stuff gunk and stuff all over them. So turned out fantastic. and not holding it in your fingers and having to scrub that way probably saved me about 45 minutes on this job. Where if
Yeah.
I was using just a little teeny piece of steel wool in my fingers, I wouldn't have been able to do what I did. And also the coverage area. When you're scrubbing with your fingers, I swear to God, every single window that you do, you're always leaving a little spot behind that you have to go back up and touch up
Yes.
once you've squeegeed off. You look at
100%.
it and you're like, oh, I missed that. Did not have that happen once with the mag scrubber. Every single window I only had to scrub one time because the coverage was just that much better, and the pressure across the whole thing makes it just that much better. So, but no, I want to thank everybody that did come out to the little convention, little get together that we had. Especially the guys from out of state, you and Jason and Codreen. I mean, such an amazing time hanging out with people, going to Top Golf on Friday night, and then the get together on Saturday. And then Mike and Codreen and Jason came over to my house Saturday night. We had the fights on in the background, but I don't think we.
Yeah, we just hashed it out, dude. We just wanted to talk, man.
Yeah, I don't think we paid attention to a single fight that was happening. We were just talking about the day and the excitement level and the high that we were still on from the whole thing. And yeah, it was really special. And I mean, I'll reiterate how amazing of a human being Codreen is. Just such a great guy, and I'm so happy that I got to meet him, because I didn't even know who he was before he said he was coming down to this convention. And I looked at some of his videos and stuff that he did at the IWCA, and I was just blown away. I was like, dude, I really want to meet this guy now. And so I'm super stoked that I got to meet him. Super stoked that I got to meet Gabe, because I mean, I've been talking to Gabe here in the booth for years, and I mean, we've partnered up in Squeegee and stuff, but I've never got to meet Gabe in person. So it was amazing to meet Gabe in person, and Gabe is just as advertised. Sweetest, nicest guy on the planet. I mean, you're not going to meet a more down-to-earth, nice guy than Gabe. So,
yeah, let me say this too.
Thanks, man.
I wish I got to spend more time with you, Gabe. I hope we get to meet again in the future. But Jason, I can't say enough about Jason. I actually picked him up from the airport, and Jason's the type of guy, like, I had never met him before. He had me on his podcast. He'd message me, back and forth, giving me his support and stuff, and appreciating what I'm doing and everything aside of that. As a human being, like, person to person, like, Jason is the type of guy, like, you feel like you've known him forever. Like, I swear to God, like, I was really sad that he had to go, because he stayed one night at my house and we talked just all night, and I was like, look, dude, I got to go to bed, because if I don't, we're going to be up till like 3 in the morning just talking and talking and talking. And so Jason is a great guy. We caught some dinner, him and my wife and my son, and he's just a really good source of information and reassurance. And, I kind of stressed myself out about a lot of things, and I was, venting to him, and he's given me the best advice I could possibly have asked for. And
Dude.
he's just such a good guy, man. So I want to give a shout out to Jason, dude.
Jason and I, we're simpatico. It's like you latch on to people who understand you, but also don't judge you. And when we started communicating, I think in any other circumstance, it could almost be like a rivalry, but neither of us gave off those vibes at all from the beginning that we met. And even though we both have podcasts, we both have similar goals and similar things that we're doing, both of us immediately were like, dude, I want you to succeed. I hope you have the right messaging. You got the right goals. You're wanting to help the industry. Whatever I can do to help you achieve your goals, I'm going to be there. And it was vice versa. So I'm glad he made it too. Anytime Jason and I get together, it's a real special thing. So I appreciate everything that he does. But I can say the same for you guys. You both, man. You guys opened the door for us and invited us, and hospitality that we felt was awesome. And Jake, you've been such a staple in the industry, maybe not in the forefront all the time, but in these last couple of years, you've really put yourself in that place as someone for others to look up to, and how to do things the right way, and how to be your own man and stand up for your values, but also at the same time be okay with other people too, and help them. So I want to thank you for that, and for being able to work with you through Squeegee, your help with that. And I just glad I can send people to you, because people would always ask me about that. I'm like, dude, I don't know anything about that. And so now I can say, go talk to Jake. He'll get you into the right entity. He'll get your business set up the way it needs to be. And that's a huge value for me. So thank you so much for that.
No, thank you. Yeah, and going back to Jason too. I mean, I've met Jason on a few occasions before he came out this time. Met him at the Huge a couple years back, and then when he came to Salt Lake for his son's soccer tournament last year, James and I hung out with him a little bit, but it was just for a little bit, snippets of time. This weekend, I got to hang out with Jason a lot because Thursday and Friday night he stayed at my place. So I mean, we were up in the morning having coffee together. We were, eating dinner at the end of the night together. So yeah, we kind of got to know each other a lot better through the thing. And Jason's just as advertised, man. I mean, he's just another one of those guys that is in this for the right reasons, and it's not about money or anything. People don't understand. Like, I get messages almost daily asking how much money I make running Window Cleaning Nation, and the answer is zero. I've never made a penny off of Window Cleaning Nation. I've never made a penny for anything that I've done on helping people with questions or anything like that on window cleaning side of things. It's all just a passion of the window cleaning industry, and watching the growth of others and helping. It's not. I don't think for any of us it's about money here. It's about helping others and making it a good experience for other people. So.
Yep. Gentlemen, I got a heart out because I got to pick up my daughter from school, but it was a pleasure talking to you both. We'll definitely have you both on individually in the future. And there's a ton of people in the comments who I'm overdue to have them on. I know I'm trying to get Jessica on here, but she's super busy right now. So I think we're going to try it in June. But definitely several people who are regularly on here, I definitely want to have them on to get to know them a little better. But thank you guys for putting such an awesome event on. Let's get that going to other states here in the country. But you guys have a good rest of the day, and we'll catch you later. Thank you guys.
Thanks,
Take
Gabe.
care.
Yeah,
thanks, Gabe. Make sure you upload that video, man. We want to see that.
I will. Absolutely. We'll see you.
So, appreciate you, Gabe. Thanks.
See ya.